Meeting.
Okay, great. Okay, at this time, I will call this meeting to order. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Commissioner Baker? Commissioner Garrettson?
Here.
Commissioner Granados? Commissioner Kowalski?
Here.
Commissioner Leone? Commissioner Mirabella? Commissioner Palmieri? Muedad?
Here.
Vice Chair Hudak?
Present.
And Chair Williams?
Here.
Chair, you have 5 commissioners present. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Would you now lead us in the prayer and salute to the flag?
Humbly we ask God, the giver of peace and the lover of charity, to give the entire family of nations true agreement with his will and to grant the light of his spirit on all who work for justice and peace. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Jimmy, would you now please read the statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act?
The chair wishes to announce that pursuant to the requirements of New Jersey Statutes Annotated, Title 10, Chapter 4, Section 10 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting of the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Union has been given by mailing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2022, along with periodic changes necessitated by circumstance to the newspapers circulating within the County of Union who are designated to receive such notice, and by posting the annual meeting schedule for the year 2022 in the Administration Building, and further by filing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2022 with the Office of the County Clerk.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve communications? Okay, so that was moved by Commissioner Palmieri Muedad and seconded by Commissioner Dr. Garrettson. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Garrettson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kowalski?
Yes.
Commissioner Palmieri Muedad?
Aye.
Vice Chair Hudak?
Aye.
And Chair Williams?
Aye.
Chair, you have 5 votes in the affirmative on the communications.
Thank you so much. The meeting is now open to the public for the purpose of commenting on resolutions being offered for adoption and/or on any governmental issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern. Kindly state your name and your town of residence for the record. If speaking on a resolution on the agenda, please note the resolution number to which you are referring, and please adhere to the 5-minute time limit. You will see when you have about 1 minute left or 30 seconds left, it will go yellow, and then red means it's time to stop. So the floor is now open.
Good evening. My name is Greg Lemberg, and I live in Westfield, New Jersey. And I'm here tonight in hopes of gaining some insight into when the review of the Union County Park Recreation and Open Space Master Plan is likely to be completed so that it can be disclosed to the public. There was an amendment to Resolution 2019-894 that was approved in June of 2021 to include the Tamacos Park property in Westfield in the scope of the master plan, with the specific purpose of addressing the need for additional youth playing fields needed in Westfield, particularly in Tamacos Park. Any recommendations that come out of the master plan will not only have a significant impact to expanding youth athletic fields, but also have important implications for the financial burden placed on taxpayers in Westfield, the environment, climate change, and health and safety of user groups. I believe that it's extremely important that the findings in the plan be considered by the town council before any significant decisions regarding athletic fields anywhere in Westfield are made. However, there is mounting pressure for the town council to act without waiting any further. Moving forward without considering the findings of the Union County Master Plan will be a wasted opportunity. I respectfully urge the Board of Commissioners to prioritize the review and approval of the Union County Park Recreation and Open Space Master Plan to ensure that taxpayers begin to reap the benefits of the plan as soon as possible, and that municipalities can make decisions with all the available information at their disposal. Thank you for consideration of this request.
Certainly. I believe it should be ready by fall, but County Manager, can you?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The Parks Director, Director Zuber, is on vacation, so he's not here, but I believe the plan is to have it completed in the fall.
Okay, so completed in fall. Okay, okay. The floor is still open.
Good evening, Chair Williams. Welcome back, by the way. I haven't seen you for a couple of meetings. But anyway, Bruce Patterson. Oh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Garrettson of the Commissioner Board. This is Bruce Patterson Garwood. The November election ballot drawing is upcoming in August. And observing past history, it appears 75 to 80% of the time, the Democrat Party, of whom controls the Union County Clerk Office and Election Board and the county itself, end up with ballot line A. This appears to be very suspicious of the inequity, particularly when the public had found out that a couple of years ago, for years, the election division was headed by a person with a criminal history and who worked under the county clerk. He has since left once the criminal issue was uncovered. To avoid suspicion, a good suggestion I'm making for transparent fairness would be to reach out to another county clerk in a county controlled by Republicans, example, Mars County, and switch out the clerks for the ballot draw so no questionable shenanigans could occur. To the resolutions. Number 658 is $381,000 for a spending plan for subcontracted services, but doesn't reveal what services and who is the contractor. Numbers 659 and 660 are $258,000 and $152,000 in contracts, totaling over $400,000 to Community Access Unlimited. I know Director Anderson did explain about 23 people, expected 90 people show up, but this increased one contract by 2.5 times, and the other contract was doubled. The public needs really an explanation in depth of the sudden high cost of in-school and out-of-school career services. Number 672, lease agreement for New Jersey for office space in the family courthouse, which originally was to be used by the County Improvement Authority. Are the taxpayers actually making any money on this from the state, since no dollar figure was noted in there? Number 673, why are we giving USA Architects $20,000 for on-call services for the last 4 months of the year? What is planned for them for this $20,000? Because normally in the beginning of the year, you also have on-call services identified. Number 682, and I mentioned this time, the other meeting, giving online media tap into a contract for $50,000, which is a large increase from last year. What exact details of work is TAP going to do for this? And I need details. This is the same media where TAP recently printed about the disaster of the Union County Courthouse complex and included a resident's comment in the article. Someone from the county called TAP and threatened TAP to delete the comments. You weren't here when I spoke about that. Last meeting, I, as a resident, want the county to find out who the strong-arm employee was and fire them. Have you done this since the other meeting? You should get on it now, if not. Or are you doing some kind of alternative using large amounts of taxpayer money as hush money now? Number 684 and 685 are contracts to Remington and also Kyers for $36,000 for concept plans for 2 parks. Why isn't this money being taken out of our open space trust fund, since this is the purpose we voted it for? Number 709. Why are we giving County Finance Director Bibby Taylor's husband's law firm another $70,000 to double this contract work cost? They certainly are getting rich on the taxpayer's dime for apparent minimal work. Please detail for the public what the taxpayers are getting for this extra money. Number 711, this is appointing Finance Director Bibby Taylor to the treasurer position. That's normally a housekeeping resolution. After her unmitigated disaster of the county complex bidding process costing taxpayers upwards of tens of millions of dollars, the public figured you would have integrity enough to dump her quickly. Question is this the apparent poor quality of employees you want to keep on the staff? There should be consequences. The public wants to see some accountability instead of just confident pats on the back and total abuse of tax monies. And I guess I have a little time left. Number 695, this is a new one that showed up on the agenda, is an anti-nepotism policy. And this I got to Oprah to take a look at it, because, I mean, I'll tell you, if enforced, possibly 25% of the employees will have to leave. So, thank you.
Thank you. So, for Resolution 658, 659, and 660, Director Anderson, can you speak to those?
Through you, Chair. So for 658 is for the gap, fill in the gap spending plan. That's $381,570 county dollars. That's for after-school programs for homeless youth. Emergency services such as hotel, motel placement, emergency shelter, case management, food, rent, mortgage, security, and utilities assistance for homeless or at-risk. Legal services and home-delivered meals for persons with disabilities. And that's why the number is what it is really stepping in and filling in the gap to make sure that the people who need it the most get the resources that they need. The others for in-school and out-of-school youth, the funding is 100% grant funded from the Department of Labor, at no cost to the residents in Union County, but it is for in-school and out-of-school youth, case management, and wraparound services to make sure the most vulnerable population, which is the youth, have access to resources that they need to be successful in life and be self-sufficient. Thank you.
Thank you. For Resolution number 672, and there was also a question on Resolution 709. I'll ask County Council to respond.
Thank you, Chair. First, turning to 672, the questioner is under a misapprehension as to what space this involves. It's not space that is in the new courthouse, but it's here across the street in what's called the new annex, even though it's not a new building. Because of historical reasons, the courts pay the counties for the space they use just for their chancery division. And so this is a renewal of a 10-year lease where the state pays us for using the space across the street. They've increased the space, we've increased the rate, and actually the amount of money that the county will be receiving over the 10 years is in fact set forth in both the caption and the body of the resolution.
Okay, thank you.
On the other one, 709,
Yes.
This is to increase payment for legal services. Again, the speaker is incorrect in saying there's no work done. In fact, as with all of our outside counsel, this firm is paid on an hourly rate. They submit monthly time records. So, in fact, the increase is because of the need to have further advice from them. This concerns the federal program where we're getting money based on COVID. It is a complicated federal law, and they recommend and guide us in what we do to make sure that when we spend the money, we're doing it properly, so we will get reimbursed 100%. So this is certainly money well spent. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. For number 673 and 682, Director Graziano.
Yes, Chair, through you. 673 for USA Architects. This is just an on-call, so this is a not to exceed. If we don't spend anything, we won't, if we don't use them, we won't spend any of the money. I know we have only a little portion of the year left. We've been, our other vendor, we've been low on some funds, so it's just better to get some more people on for on-call. We don't know exactly what's going to happen right from now to the end of the year. But again, like I said, it's a not to exceed, and if we don't use it, we don't spend it. As far as 682, the tap into, that's for my recycling advertisements. This is fully grant funded. This is not taxpayer dollars. It's for 6 months, 4 months in 2022 for $25,000 and 4 months in 2023 for the other $25,000. This is, and we use for all our recycling events, advertising, we use tap into for that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Chair.
For number 684 and 685, those would go to Administrator Drake if she can shed additional light. I believe these are just changing account numbers, but if you could.
Yes, Chair, that's correct. These account numbers were changed because grant dollars became available and were approved.
I'm sorry, say again?
Grant dollars were available and were approved.
Thank you so much. Okay. For number 711, I will ask county manager to please make a comment on that. But I also have to say that I dispute and, I'm chagrined at this, consistent negative characterization of Director Taylor and her work. County manager?
Thank you, Chair. As you were alluding to, our bond rating is AAA. We have a strong financial history record, 3 years in a row of a 0% tax increase. Also, our surplus allows to be the first county to set up a COVID testing operation and a lab to test our own swabs. So I think the board is pretty confident in Ms. Taylor's abilities and her record.
Thank you. And then for number 695, regarding the anti-nepotism policy, Director Scutari, could you just give a slight overview? Where are you? Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I would, if you can both come up, Kathy, is one of our lawyers.
Sir, outside
I'm-
counsel,
Yeah,
Kathy,
I'm-
more details.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Through-
Attorney Hatfield,
Through
sorry.
you, Chair. These policies were developed in conjunction with legislation that was passed last year, which eliminates the civil service requirement for entry-level law enforcement officers. The idea is that this will provide opportunities for otherwise disadvantaged individuals who are not able to or cannot pass the civil service exam for entry-level law enforcement officers. The two requirements are an anti-nepotism policy as well as a conflict of interest policy, and that's what these do.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
And thank you, Director Scutari, as well. We have, let's see, we have some commissioner-sponsored resolutions that I mentioned earlier, and we also, the floor is still open if there are any more comments before I move on.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners. Ray Spahn. I am one of the volunteer coordinators for the Deer Management Plan.
Oh.
Myself and my team came out. Team, can you stand up, please? Came out to thank you. Came out to thank you for approving the plan last year. Through your efforts, through our efforts, we were able to feed over 26,000 people last year, provided significant reduction in deer problems throughout the county, done it safely, efficiently. We just came out to thank you. I could have all 20-some-odd people stand up here, but it's late. It's getting hot, so I'm going to speak on behalf of everyone else. I want to thank you again.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you,
you, Ray.
gentlemen. Thank you. Okay. The floor is still open. If there are any other comments? Okay. Going once, going twice? Okay. Have a, oh, here we go.
We're here on behalf of Cornerstone.
Cornerstone.
Yes,
Okay.
that's your mental health
Mhm.
hospital here in the County of Union.
Yes.
I dressed this way because I wanted everyone to be able to see what it's like. This is how we work through COVID.
Excuse me, you have to address us,
Oh,
but
I'm
also
so sorry.
please
I apologize.
give your name and town of
Yes.
residence for our record.
Yes, I'm sorry. My name is Wendy Estevez. I'm the president of HBA Union at Cornerstone 5112. And thank you very much for allowing us to come in to speak to all of you, commissioners. Thank you very much. Thank you, public. But we just wanted to show you what it's like to work every day with COVID patients dressed in this attire. I think it's hard for people to envision it until you actually see it in person. We usually have gloves wrapped in duct tape as well. But that's enough of that. Just as, I'm going to take the mask if you don't mind so you can hear me. Thank you. Again, like I said, my name is Wendy Estevez. I'm here to represent the RNs at Cornerstone Behavioral Health Hospital. We have all endured much during this 3-year pandemic. Nurses are built for endurance for sure, but this has been like no other time in history. Just driving to and from work was surreal. Your mind focusing not only on the task ahead, but remembering you could be the vector that brings COVID to your patients or the reverse, back to your home and your family. I'm sure all of you have had these same kind of thoughts or perhaps fears. We as nurses were first on the line to come for our patients, either for their mental illness, for their COVID positive status, for their COVID negative positive status. It went back and forth many times. We were dressed like this, we were undressed, we were dressed again. So while doing this, we were covered head to toe in the PPE. Sometimes there was not enough or even substandard, which was very frightening when we discovered that we had non-medical masks that we were wearing. But we did the job donning off and donning on between rooms. We were no longer just giving medication, having one-on-one interactions regarding patients' thoughts and feelings. We were educating patients in real time about the true dangers we were all facing together. And doing this while being short-staffed due to our coworkers' illnesses and recoveries. We have continued to lose staff during the pandemic. 7+ RNs have left and have only been replaced with 1 full-time RN and 3 part-time RNs. Please help us to rectify this shortage by filling positions, opening up, adding more staff. There's staff available that want to work. They've been coming back and forth to HR for months. They haven't been approved for the jobs yet, and we don't know what the holdup is. If someone could please look into that and help us out with that, we would really be appreciative. We became family members to all of our patients as they were kept from their own families. While handling our nursing duties, we were also required to wear the hats of dietary, running back and forth for trays, calling, trying to get anybody who was in the kitchen. Many times the phone just rang and rang and rang, and you had to send somebody. But the patients were asking for their food. Mentally ill patients are different than any other patient. Those little things can cause them to, become very upset, very angry, become agitated. So those are things that we were trying to keep a cap on. Also, we were working as housekeeping. Many times they couldn't provide housekeeping for us. And you're working in COVID, so you're washing everything down yourselves. You're washing patient bathrooms. You're washing your own bathroom that you can use. You're washing bedrooms. You had to do it. There was no choice. Other people weren't there available to help us. We became maintenance, calling them. The ceilings were falling down because it was raining. There was pieces of floor, ceiling on the floor. It was crazy. We had to be the unit clerks. We answered the phones. We stamped the charts. We filled the charts. It was a little bit overwhelming. We were the social workers, because they were at home. They were able to work remotely. There was many different people that were allowed to work remotely, but the nurses were there. And when I looked to my left or I looked to my right, I didn't see my administrators helping us, which was very sad. We were there together, just the nurses and the IAs. We were truly here for the long haul. We have been your essential workers, but not treated as such by the county. We received no compensation, only sandwiches. So we're here today to ask for a fair contract amid an inflation rate of 9.1%. We expect to be compensated fairly. Please take this into your deep consideration. Thank you for your time and your attention, commissioners and public.
Thank you, Nurse Estevez, and thank you all for your hard work during such a difficult time. I know it's ongoing. However, we cannot obviously comment on contract negotiations, but I do thank you so much for your comments. The floor is still open if there are any other comments. Please. Please give us your name and town of residence for our records.
My name is Valerie Hamer. I live in Plainfield. I'm the grievance chair for HPAE 5112. I've been working at Cornerstone from 2016. I have been a nurse for 18 years. I've worked in many hospitals. At Cornerstone, I had to work alone during COVID. The unit had 23 patients. 15 of them were considered marked for unpredictable behavior, and as well as having COVID. On these occasions, I had to adhere to strict COVID isolation. During this occasion, patients were threatening staff, chasing staff, refusing to follow direction. I had to call the doctor 3 times, had to write the order, transcribe the order, and carry out the order. During this time, I also, as a family, it was very stressful. I have an immunosuppressive family member at home. So my concern was not only for me, but for my patients, but also for my family member. And the reason why I was concerned, because we did not have appropriate equipment at that time. Therefore, the disease could have been contracted at any time by me and carried on to my family member, who was told if they contracted the disease, they would die. But during all this stressful time, we continued coming. I came to work for 2 years straight without calling out. The administrators, the head of the department's head, they were not available at the time in the unit when I was there. Madam Commissioner, commissioners, all we're asking is for a fair contract for the nurses. We were there for the patients. and we're still there. So we need your help in getting a fair contract for the work that we have put in to keep our patients safe. And I'll paraphrase, I feel as the Massachusetts representative Ayanna Presley said. She said, we are due a fair contract. She said, we should survive, we should thrive. We should not have to thrive in our work environment, but we should survive. How can we survive without appropriate equipment and not getting fair wages today? So I hope you take this into consideration, all that the nurses have done and continue doing for our patients. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The floor is still open.
Hi, good evening. My name is Elaine Blake, and I'm a registered nurse at Cornerstone, and I'm also the Secretary-Treasurer for HBAE.
And the town you're from?
County I'm living, or the county where it's at?
The city, the municipality you live in?
Union County. Berkeley Heights.
Oh, Berkeley Heights, okay.
Berkeley Heights,
Gotcha,
Cornerstone. Okay. I am working at Cornerstone, otherwise known as Ronald's, for 18 long years. I came here today to inform you about some of the concerns that we have. We had staffing problem last year, and we still have staffing problem. During the height of COVID, we wear cloth gowns that we were forced to take home to wash. We had to keep the patient calm because they have no activities to keep them going, so we had to engage them. They were forced to stay in their rooms, and that put a burden on the staff to keep them in control. Some of you may say, that's what you signed up for. For us, we say yes, we agree, but we just know that we at Cornerstone matters, and we just don't want to be considered as the forgotten ones. I know many of you remember Ronald's, old Ronald's, but some of you may not know about Cornerstone. We still exist. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Blank. The floor is still open. Okay. We call this last call. Okay, so I will close public comment and turn to my colleagues. Starting at my far left, Commissioner Dr. I'm sorry? Oh, geez. I'm sorry. All right. Yes. May I have a motion on resolutions number, help me out, somebody. Number 647 through 711.
I'll make that motion, Chair.
My apologies, just for clarification, it's Resolution 717.
717, I'm sorry. Okay, that has been moved by the Vice Chair.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Kowalski. May I have a roll call, please?
Certainly. Commissioner Garrettson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kowalski,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmieri Muedad.
Aye.
Vice Chair Hudak,
Mr. Clerk, I will abstain on 693. Aye to the rest.
and Chair Williams.
Aye.
Chair, of the resolutions, all resolutions adopted with a vote of 5 in favor. Resolution 693 has 4 votes in the favor and 1 abstention.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now, I'll ask Commissioner Dr. Garrettson if she has any reports or comments to make this evening?
There's no reports, but I do want to thank all the speakers this evening, especially just hearing directly from a lot of the employees from our facility. It's always just great to see, not just read about it, but to hear your voices. So thank you very much for coming in this evening and just representing in your red. We see you, we hear you, and know it's not easy, the jobs that you are currently enduring and serving every day. So thank you for your service. I also thank and acknowledge all the gentlemen. There were no women, but all the gentlemen who stood up who are doing the deer hunting. So thank you for the work that you're doing, and all the speakers this evening. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, Commissioner Paul-Mary Mudet.
Thank you, Chair. I want to echo my colleague, Dr. Gerritson's comments. Again, although we cannot comment on contract negotiations, I know you weren't asking or looking for a thank you from us, but we see you and we thank you. I know that nurses played one of the most intricate and important roles and continue to play during this COVID pandemic. And you certainly signed up for this job, but you did not sign up for a pandemic, nor was there ever a handbook that was given to any of you on how to do the job of multi people. So I thank you for what you've done for the residents of our county, the residents of Cornerstone. On behalf of the board here, we could never thank you enough for the hours that you put in, the stress that it caused you going home at night, if you could even go home at night, because I'm sure there were plenty of times that you weren't able to. And we do appreciate and thank you for all that you did to keep yourselves, your families, and our residents safe and secure during this time. And unfortunately, it does continue, but we want you to know that we thank you and we see you. And also to our dear management team, you're doing a great thing for our community. I did not realize 26,000 people were fed through the program this year, and that's really something that, you know, like, again, especially during this pandemic, something that was needed for our community. So thank you. I have just a few updates about our recycling events. This Saturday, August 13th at Kane University between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. we have a paper shredding event. You can just pull up and we take your paper and shred it for you right there on the spot. We also have a scrap metal recycling program that will be next Saturday, August 20th from 9 to 12 a.m. There will be a location in Cranford at the Emergency Services Building at 151 Kenilworth Boulevard, and in Rahway at Rahway River Park near the swimming pool. And we also have a household hazardous waste collection on Saturday, September 10th at Union County College, located in Cranford. And you can go online to find out the acceptable items that are able to be recycled during that event. Other than that, I have nothing else. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Paul-Mary Mudet. Commissioner Kowalski.
Thank you, Chair. And I'll add my thanks to the nurses and to the deer management volunteers and to everyone who came to attend tonight. We appreciate your being here and we appreciate your work. I have an announcement about training for Master Tree Stewards. We're looking for people to join the program and so speak for the trees. The Master Tree Stewards are volunteers who visit fourth grade classrooms each spring to present an interactive lesson on trees. And they also do a lot of work in educating the general public about trees. And if you call the Rutgers Cooperative Extension, you may be able to ask questions about trees and get some very good advice. So every fall we offer the training, and it includes guided walks and light reading assignments and indoor classes. There's a small fee to cover the cost of the class of $25. And those who obtain the Tree Steward certificate are qualified to teach. And they meet on Wednesday nights not at night, it's during the day, from September 7th to December 14th. So you can get more information from Mr. James Nicknatowicz at 908-654-9854. And it takes a certain kind of person to learn about trees and present that knowledge to the public and share it with the next generation who, we all know, given the climate change, need to concern themselves about nature. So I hope that we'll get some more volunteers. I know everybody who joins the program really, in addition to teaching a lot of people, they get a lot out of it themselves. In fact, we honored a tree steward a couple of weeks ago, Dean Talcott, who has been a volunteer for 19 years and done a great deal of work with the program and also surveying the trees throughout the county. So thanks to Dean. And I'd also like to mention, I have a resolution on about Commander Jay Boxwell, Jr., who was a commander of the Cranford VFW Post 335, and he was recently elected commander of the New Jersey State Veterans of Foreign Wars. I attended a ceremony for him at the VFW in Cranford and presented the resolution from the county commissioners. And then Commander Boxwell talked about the work of the VFW throughout the state, and he's especially proud of the advocating that they did for the law that was recently signed about providing health benefits for veterans who suffered from environmental toxins during their service. So that includes not just things like Agent Orange, but also the burn pits that we've heard so much about from the Iraq War and other places. So congratulations to Commander Boxwell, and thanks to all our veterans. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Chair Hudak.
Thank you, Chair. I want to extend my thanks and appreciation to the nurses who are here today. Thank you for coming and speaking to us. Outside of the contract questions, which we talked and we addressed about already, and I thought the Chair made that point as effectively as it could from our position. Thank you for everything you've done, and you, like so many county employees during the pandemic, and honestly always, you take care of some of our most vulnerable residents, and you do so without fanfare, and we certainly appreciate that. Thank you. I wanted to also extend my thanks to the individuals here who are part of the Union County Deer Hunt, and I think that's a very important program that I've supported in all my years on the board. Because I think it's an important job. It's an often unheralded job, and in terms of keeping our roads safe, in terms of removing deer, and I know may not be always the most popular thing to have a deer hunt in a county, but the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, we're in an area where there's a lot of overdevelopment, and as we see, woodland areas be taken away, not just in Union County but in surrounding areas. Unfortunately, these animals don't have a place to go, and they wander into more urban areas. I see Councilman Strano from Linden, who represents the 7th Ward in the city of Linden, which is home to Hawkrise Reservation, which I believe, Ralph, is about a mile square. It's beautiful, and you should see it and take the opportunity to go down to the 7th Ward, Linden, and Tremley Point, and see the Hawkeye Reservation. And there's a herd of deer there. The environment can't support the animals. And so then they wander on, and they wander onto the Linden Airport property, onto Route 1 and 9, and into dangerous situations for both residents, homeowners, motorists, et cetera. And so that plays out all throughout Union County. It's a tough issue, and I know the board has supported it for a long time, but I certainly do appreciate everyone who's participated over the years. It really, it's an important service. Lastly, last month we did a resolution thanking a gentleman named Mark Fedorchak, who's a well-known and respected coach and Little League administrator for youth baseball leagues in Rawway and Clark. Mr. Fedorchak lives by the Madison Hill Park, where there's a baseball field, and for many, many years, not only has he volunteered, but he was sort of like an extra volunteer for our Department of Recreation, dragging the field, helping manicure and draw the lines, and really just an asset to our Parks Department. Unfortunately, Mr. Fedorchak has taken very ill, so working with my colleagues on the policy committee, we've decided to put a plaque at that field honoring his service to the youth of that area, as well as just his commitment to maintaining the beauty of a Union County park. And we'll be doing a presentation later this summer. But there's so many individuals who just volunteer their time and talents in Union County. And Mr. Fedorchak is one of them, and we'll be honoring him appropriately at the end of August. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I just have a couple of things. I want to echo the comments of my colleagues regarding the work done by the deer management program guys to, try and alleviate the overabundance of deer in an effort to really make our community safer. I also do want to acknowledge and thank all of the Cornerstone nurses for coming out tonight to voice your concerns. And again, I agree with my colleagues. We know it's a very difficult job. And I can say that the county is committed to fair negotiations with all collective bargaining units. So we're hoping for a good outcome. But we do thank you for coming here this evening. I just have really sort of one note in three. Our local community grants, cultural grants, grant applications are available. We have 3 programs administered by Union County: the History Grant Program, the Local Arts Grant Program, and of course our well-known Heart Grant Program. And these help with the cost of special events and other program operating costs for different organizations, and we're really proud to support, this environment that we're expanding in terms of, the arts and culture of our county. Of course, that in October we do have 4 Centuries in a weekend coming up, and I'm looking forward to that again this coming October. Many of our history sites and other cultural sites depend on this funding. I just do want to acknowledge that the application process is open. These are administered through the Cultural and Heritage Affairs Department. And for complete details and to fill out your application, please go to ucnj.org/cultural for that. Do we have any final comments from our county council? No? Okay. So with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Vice Chair Hudak, seconded by Commissioner Palmieri Muedad. Are we all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the meeting is adjourned. We'll see you all September 15th, our next meeting. Thank you. Good night.
Huzzah.